Hello and welcome to the Turnbuckle Sessions. I am your host, Thomas Montalto. And today we have a special guest, longtime friend of the show, the newest member of the Pod Foundation,
New world order.
J-Bone, John Soileau. What's going on, buddy? Welcome to the Sessions.
What's up, man? I'm so glad to be on the sessions. Long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so excited to have you on because we talk all the time, but I
Yeah,
love getting to know the wrestling fan history of everybody.
right. Yep.
So let's dive right into it. What are your earliest memories of wrestling? Like, what's the
So,
first thing you remember?
and I was thinking about this today. Um, it's kind of weird. Like, I was so young. I was probably about 3 years old. So I don't remember like specifically like, okay, this is what it was. But I remember watching like WrestleMania 3 on VHS. This
Okay.
was because this was after it was probably at least 2 years after WrestleMania 3. So we're talking like, around that time. But I remember, VHS, and I collected, not collected, but I went to the VHS, the rental place, the local rental place that we had. I grew up in a small town in Louisiana. And, I remember, going there and seeing all the wrestling tapes. My dad was a big wrestling fan. And, I I remember remember WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 5, wearing that bad boy out. There was this old game too that you would put in it was a VHS game, and I would just watch that just on continuous loop, just watch it, watch it, watch it.
I
It was
have
just
that.
like,
It's
yeah, it
right
was
over
just,
here. I have it right in my closet, right over here.
that's awesome. Like I was just like it would just show stuff, and I'm just like sit there and watch it over and over again. But what I would have to say, probably the one that really like I can vividly remember, and the one that really sank my teeth into it was WrestleMania 6.
Okay.
Just watching that intro with the stars and the constellations and all that stuff. I remember as a kid that hooked me, and then of course I was a big Hogan fan, but Warrior of course was coming on strong too for me. And I just was kind of torn. Which way I was going to go, Hogan or Warrior, Hogan or Warrior. So that's always just been like a sentimental favorite of mine. Uh,
That's a good one, man.
yeah.
I don't think I rooted for Hogan until he fought the Warrior because I hated the Warrior more than I hated Hogan. I was a Piper kid. Like, I
Yeah,
love
you
Piper
were.
and I love Savage. So,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
never
yeah,
I mean, I love Hogan now and I loved him then, I guess, but
yeah. And I became a Savage fan probably a little bit later on, right? Probably when he became babyface, WrestleMania 7. I was your traditional
yeah.
kid, just like the good guy. you know,
Yeah.
uh, and then Savage is now one of my top favorites. Uh, even more so than Hogan. I don't
Agreed.
really. I'm not a Hogan fan anymore.
No?
No, no.
I love Hogan. He means so much to wrestling. I
Yeah,
love him more now than I did back then. Like, when he
yeah.
started releasing the DVDs, I was so happy to get those matches on DVD and shit, so
You talking about the Bubba the Love Sponge DVD?
no, I'm not talking about videos that are made without people knowing and then released to the public. That's 100% wrong.
I was just kidding.
So,
Anyways.
no. I don't need to see Hogan's hog. Anyway.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
So that's around when you fell in love with it then at
Mm.
WrestleMania
Right,
7.
right. I mean,
I could see that WrestleMania, you know,
oh,
that
sorry.
was a
Yeah,
that was a great mania. That I could see that capturing kids.
yeah, yeah. You had Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire versus Macho King and Miss Elizabeth. I mean, even the opener. Okay, to me, like I just Rick the Model Martel versus Coco Beware. Okay, it's not going to be drawing a whole lot, but I mean, to me, when I watch it, I'm like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's so great. You had Perfect and Brutus. Um, I'm forgetting the Colossal Connection and
Ooh.
the Demolition.
Yep.
That was great as well too. But like I said, I think I mean I was definitely a fan before, but really I was just like it solidified my fandom at that point.
Okay, so have you ever taken a break from being a fan? Like I know people who love it have tapped out for a while, then they come back.
Yeah.
Did you ever do that? You did do it.
Um, there's a couple times. Um, one time it was, in particular, it was not because I I was forced to.
You were
So growing
forced to.
growing up in the South, um, I have a family that's they're very conservative, and I was flipping through. We're in vacation in Texas, and I think I've told you the story before too. But flip it through, and I'm like, oh, it's Monday. Let me put Monday Night Raw on. Now this is 1999, the height of the Attitude Era, and the first guy that comes on the screen is Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn. And my mom's like, wait, what? What are we watching here? Just thinking, oh, we're just going to be watching good old wholesome WWF, right? And and uh and then probably the next segment, or maybe even that same match, I don't know, was Val Venus, everybody's favorite porn star wrestler. Now, I was watching it, and some of the innuendos went over my head because I'm like 12, 13 years
Of
old at the
course.
time. And looking back at it, I'm like, yeah, I would never let my child watch this. And but yeah, obviously, I kind of got the Nix A on the WWFA. Um, so I was relegated to watching WCW. Now, 1999 WCW
I'm sorry to hear
is not good. So
that.
I that's when that's all you can watch. You're just like, well, it's been real. I'm out. For that reason, I'm out.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I mean, I say I'm forced to. I mean, I had an opportunity to watch WCW. Like, wasn't at that time wasn't my cup of tea. Um, so I don't know. It was sometime back in high school. I think it was around 03. I was just like, flipping through the TV. I was like, let's see what's going on in WWF land here. And kind of it was right around that time where Evolution was kind of picking up steam a little bit, and I was like, okay, I could get I can't stand them, but that's good. That's a good thing,
Yeah.
Watching a certain Canadian wrestler that we're not going to mention here. He caught my attention, of course. Uh, let's see, Edge. Uh, I liked Christian back then. I thought Christian was really entertaining. He was kind of mid card level. Booker T, those guys. Oh, that was another thing. I was like, oh, Booker T's in WWF. Okay, cool. Because last time I saw him, he was in WCW, and now, so then my fandom grew back into it, and then it was for about 4 or 5 years. Then college hit.
You were in high school for 4 or 5 years? Wait a
well,
minute. I'm
well,
kidding.
actually, for a little while in college, I was watching it, but uh, for about the first year or two, and then I was like, yeah, I keep up with it, should I say?
Yeah.
And then I really just completely fell off the rails around '07, and it was all about the beers and babes.
Nothing wrong
uh,
with that, right?
yeah, and I picked back up again, shortly after. So that's a couple dippers and dives. What got me back into it was The Rock coming back. That was one thing,
Okay.
and then shortly after, the pipe bomb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Those are two good things, you
yeah.
know.
And then ever since then, I've definitely been. I've never missed a Raw, never missed a SmackDown. If I miss, I've been, even teetering now, of course, into AEW, Impact Wrestling, GCW, of course. I think this last 2 years I've been consumed so much wrestling.
Yeah.
It's honestly like it's overtaken any of my other previous passions of football and baseball and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm in it.
Yeah, I mean that's funny because I was just looking at the other day. As much as I love the Yankees and baseball, they've kind of taken a back seat to wrestling
Mm,
to me lately, and
yeah,
I still follow them. and I still watch them, but I'm picking wrestling over baseball now.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny. I'm with you. Like my spectrum for wrestling now, I'm watching more than I ever did because I will, I watch AEW every week now. I watch AEW more than I watch WWE. For the first time in years, I've skipped Raw and SmackDown. Like I wasn't home, didn't get to watch it, and never went back to watch it because that's where the product is right now. And I do enjoy AEW. I do check out some Impact. I have checked out some GCW. I'm the same thing. Like I'm loving like opening my eyes and seeing what else is out there. So I
Yeah.
wish I had more time to do more of it, but
I know. I
I
know.
love what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
It's such a great time to be a wrestling fan with so much out there. So what's your favorite match of all time? Do you have a go-to match?
Man, that's a tough one. I've got a couple favorites. Actually, one go-to match. There's a couple. I would have to say, Edge and Mick Foley, WrestleMania 22.
Ooh, good one. Okay.
That's a favorite of mine. Um, I like the Daniel Bryan versus Triple H WrestleMania 30. I
Oh,
was
okay.
I was in the house for that one. So that's another favorite of mine. Um, Brett versus Owen. Good lord! I mean, those
Hmm.
two guys can go. Brett and Shawn WrestleMania 12. I think probably the one that's. I mean, really, I think it's going to be my all-time favorite. And I'm looking at my fit collection and kind of rearranging stuff. I'm going to have an idea where I'm going to kind of put opponents next to each other, kind of thing. But I'm going to do I'm going to go with Brett versus Steve Austin WrestleMania 13.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that was a great one.
yeah,
I like that
yeah.
pick too.
It's so good, so good. I mean the storytelling in that match, and I mean from the fall of that year
Yes.
into that match, really. But just the where the way they took the whole story going from the match at Survivor Series all the way to WrestleMania. I mean, if you believe what they say, and it was supposed to be Brett and Shawn Part 2, and then they have to call it audible. Well, they sure as hell made a great audible, and the way they did it, having you know them do a I Quit match and all the animosity surrounding it, because that was not a great WrestleMania, and
Yeah.
and that literally saved that WrestleMania for sure.
Yeah. I agree. We haven't seen a great WrestleMania in a while now, but
Right.
which is a shame. And with the 2 night WrestleManias coming up, I'm really not looking forward to them. I like one night. Give me one night of great wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not either. Um, unless they do some type of like we saw, and actually Mike and Chad brought this up on
Of
the
GCW.
GCW show. You do it where it's some kind of story arc in
You
between
need
the two
to.
nights.
You absolutely need to, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
And I think that's
Yeah.
the only way that's going to really put butts in seats. I mean,
Yeah.
unless they bring back a Ronda or
I don't
um,
even think Ronda could sell out the
I don't
seats at
know.
this point.
I don't think so. But
And tickets aren't selling for Mania. They're already offering free tickets
yeah,
for this
Mhm.
year's Mania. Buy three, get one free, and all that stuff. So,
It's
I'm
crazy.
hoping, like, I don't wish bad for anything. Like, I
Mhm.
never do. I never want that. But I'm hoping after this year, they go back to the one night Mania, put the Hall of Fame back on Saturday night where it
Yeah,
belongs.
yeah,
So, it was just a perfect compliment to the WrestleMania weekend when they did it that way, in
it
my
was.
opinion.
I agree. I loved
So,
it.
it used to be such an exciting weekend. So, we'll see. We'll
Mhm.
see what happens. Hopefully things will start changing for the
Mhm.
better. So yeah, I know. Like, you have any particular moments that are favorite moments that you just go back and watch randomly?
Like I kind of just like promo stuff and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, I love watching the start of McMahon Austin. Those
Ooh.
those first few weeks after he
Yeah.
won the title.
Yep.
Um, I love watching that and just kind of watching that story up until whenever they kind of do that. one arm tied behind the back match, and it ends up being a schmaz with Dude Love coming out.
Yep.
I like watching that basically the whole month of Monday Night Raw. I love Fall of '97 Raw. So good. Like from when Bret Hart won the title against The Undertaker all the way through the rest of that year. I mean, every Monday Night Raw was just unbelievable. Of course, NWO started NWO. The whole, I guess, Attitude Era. I could do a bunch of different moments. Honestly, Pipe Bomb, like I mentioned, the
Yeah, I can watch a pipe bomb over and over.
Cena versus Punk, Money in the Bank. Even going back, watching Savage and Hogan, those stories. So there's a lot. There's a lot. I just kind of go back and watch. I'm gonna have to say though, my favorite though is the start of McMahon Austin.
Yeah, I know. Around this time of the year, I always go back and watch Royal Rumble moments.
Oh yeah,
Things I love, and one day I'm gonna do this. I every year I say I'm gonna do it, and I don't. But I want to go back like for a month, watch every Royal Rumble match.
Oh yeah.
I would love to do that. I need to do that.
Yeah, they have it where like the best of WWE right now, and I was looking for where they used to have every Royal Rumble match just splintered out.
Yeah.
But now it's just like Attitude Era and best of 2010s, and I'm like,
yeah.
I
got all the DVDs, but it could also go, and I have the box set, but they have the full pay-per-views on the network, so
right.
You just go search for it that way. I hate that they don't have it broken down like they did on the old network.
I know.
I listen. If I'm a businessman, I'm not saying no to $1 billion either.
Right.
So right. I don't totally. I totally get where they're coming from with that. So, but so you're a figure collector. When did that start?
Well, I mean, as a child, obviously I collected Hasbro's. That was kind of my go-to, and I kind of got out of wrestling figures for a little while as a kid. My generation, Power Rangers were the big thing, so there's a while like where I stopped collecting wrestling figures. Excuse me, still battling a cough, folks. So sorry about that. I remember collecting bone crunchers as a kid as well too. That really got my creativity.
I never had a bone cruncher. I need a bone cruncher.
Yeah, you do. In fact, right here, I'm looking right here over here. I've got all of Series 1 mint on card right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty awesome. They're available pretty at a decent price. I think, once these bone crushing wrestlers that Chella Toys is doing going sell, I imagine they're going to skyrocket. And then whenever I got out of wrestling as a kid, I just stopped collecting. And honestly, like I never really even thought about it. Kind of started listening to Major Wrestling Figure podcasts. I was fan of Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. It's like, this is kind of neat. Let's check this out. And then I kind of just started looking at some of the stuff, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. And I guess I kind of felt a little bit ashamed or whatever of being a collector, and I didn't realize how many collectors are out there.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing people don't realize that either. And then pandemic hit. And I was one of them that lost my job, but I started collecting.
Oh God.
So, so I got into that. So, in 2020, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and it's been full stop, like full go since. I've got every single WWE champion Mattel has made. In fact, just completed Big E today. So I got my Big E in the Hall of Champions. I've got, of course, a Macho Man collection. Kind of loosely do different eras, and started, like I said, with Bone Crunchers now again, and now I'm on the Bendies as well. So
Yeah, I need to. I have all my Bendies, the LJM Bendies.
Oh
I
yeah.
have all of them from my when I was a kid. I never got rid of them,
How
and they're
how's
in
the
decent shape.
difference? How's the difference in those two bendies? Like,
Um, you know what? I've never seen the other ones. The
uh,
ones that came later were the Bendims, right?
Bendums, you're correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I've never seen one of them. I wasn't
Okay.
collecting at that time,
Okay.
so I couldn't even tell you. But they're like mini LJNs, but they got the wire in them, so you can pose them and stuff.
Huh.
I mean, or actually, originally that's what the LJN line was going to be,
Right. Right.
and then they had the prototypes, and that turned out to be what the LJN line was. And then they came out with the Bendies, and they came out with the stretch guys, and the
Right.
16-inch Piper and Hogan, which I still have from when I was a kid. So it's a good thing I was a collector back then because I never got rid of them.
That's why you're the OG Fit Kid. You
That's
know.
right. That's right. So you mentioned you have a shelf for all the WWE champions.
Uh,
Rumor has it you can name every WWE champion in order.
uh-huh.
I think we're gonna have to test that out right now.
All right. So,
How do you want to do this, J-Bone?
well, what I could do, I could go ahead and close my eyes so
Okay.
nobody thinks I have it up here on the computer screen.
I wouldn't. Believe me, I know you well enough to know that you're never gonna do that. I'm looking to
So
see if I can find every champion, the list, because I don't know
yeah,
everyone by order like you do. But I think this will be a fun thing to do.
yeah, it's definitely on Wikipedia. But like I said,
That's where I am right now, but it's not coming up.
just
But
to
don't
type
you
it.
look it up. Oh, here it is. List of.
I'm gonna close my eyes
Okay, I
and
found it. I think. Let me see if this is the right list. Here we
I,
go.
I actually timed myself the other day. I could do it in under 5 minutes.
No, should should I just test you, or should we just go through the whole list?
Whatever, we could go through all 143 reigns. It doesn't
There's
matter. Whatever.
143 reigns. Wow. Who had the longest reign?
The longest reign is Bruno Sammartino.
Okay, you got that. Who had the shortest reign?
Shortest reign. Hold on. Oh, it's Rey Mysterio.
Was it? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start. Let's see. Let's go.
All right. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, Bruno Sammartino, Ivan Koloff, Pedro Morales, Stan Stasiak, Bruno Sammartino, Superstar Billy Graham, Bob Backlund, Iron Sheik, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Vacated, Macho Man Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Sergeant Slaughter, Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, Vacated, Ric Flair, Macho Man Randy Savage, Ric Flair, Bret Hart, Yokozuna, Hulk Hogan, Yokozuna, Bret Hart, Bob Backlund, Diesel, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Psycho Sid, Shawn Michaels, Vacated, Bret Hart, Psycho Sid, Undertaker, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kane, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Vacated, Rock, Mankind Rock, Mankind Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mankind, Triple H, Vince McMahon, Vacated, Triple H, Big Show, Triple H, The Rock, Triple H, The Rock, Kurt Angle, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Chris Jericho, Triple H, Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, The Rock, Brock Lesnar, Big Show, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, Eddie Guerrero, JBL, John Cena, Edge, John Cena, RVD, Edge, John Cena, Vacated, Orton, Triple H, Orton, Triple H, Edge, Jeff Hardy, Edge, Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista, Vacated, Randy Orton, John Cena, Randy Orton, John Cena, Sheamus, John Cena, Batista, John Cena, Sheamus, Randy Orton, The Miz, John Cena, CM Punk. So this was kind of weird. So you had CM Punk and Rey Mysterio, CM Punk and John Cena. Then they combined it, CM Punk, Del Rio, CM Punk. CM Punk, Del Rio, Cena, Del Rio, CM Punk, Rock, uh, John Cena, Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan vacated. Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan vacated. John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins vacated. Roman Reigns, Sheamus, Roman Reigns, Triple H, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, John Cena, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal, AJ Styles, uh, Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, The Miz, Bobby Lashley, Big E, and Brock Lesnar.
Wow, I'm gonna have to go back and fact check that. Did you mention Jack Swagger?
He was a world heavyweight champion.
Oh, maybe I'm looking at the wrong list here.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's
Oh, WWE SmackDown. Okay, I see.
yeah. He was a world heavyweight
This
champion.
isn't the complete list.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Then I can't go by that list. I just scrolled over and started. Damn, because I was trying. Like I don't like. Probably after WrestleMania 7, I can't do it anymore. I probably could do it up until then, and then there's just been so many of them.
Yeah.
Damn, man. How do you know that?
I don't
Did
know.
you study it, or do you just remember it?
I did a little bit of studying, and then I don't know, like I think of it like in my brain, the way my brain works. I take like photographic memories of times of years,
Okay.
and it's the same way with birthdays. Like I can remember people's birthdays just based off of their month, and can kind of get close, In fact, one time I completely like I was with some friends and this girl asked me like, "What's my birthday?" And now I never met the girl, and I completely guessed it one time. I'm like, April 21st. I'm just like, what? I didn't know her at all, But I'm just I don't know. I'm always kind of put it in my head where I can compartmentalize it that way. So and I'm not great with the World Heavyweight Championship because it's hard for me to go back and watch some of those matches from 07 to 2010. The Intercontinental Championship, I can get pretty close with it too.
Wow.
In some parts, that's the next one I'm working on. It's the Intercontinental Championship. So
again, I could probably do that. I could do that up
it.
until WrestleMania 7-ish, probably WrestleMania 6. I could probably, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's why I love AEW, because the title changes are so infrequent. The belts mean more, but I could rattle off all of their champions for every belt.
Right.
For every belt, because there's title changes that mean something. Their champions don't just throw around the belts like they do in WWE. And to me, when you have double of each title, it just waters down everything. They don't mean anything.
Right.
So, and I think that's one of the things that's drawn me to AEW over WWE at this point. And I'm a WWE fanboy. I've been a WWE loyalist for 40 freaking years.
Yeah.
So I want them to get better. And the show's a little better than it was a few months ago.
It's getting there. There.
It's definitely better than it was. So I hope it continues on that pace to see, what's to come. So let's talk about Coming Down the Aisle.
Coming Down the Aisle.
First of all, I love the name of the podcast because it's original.
Yeah.
How did you come up with, what made you decide to start podcasting?
Well, I was wanting to do something with the time on my hands because, like I mentioned, I lost my job because of COVID. And so I kind of started like just a wrestling page at first, and eventually was going to lead to a podcast, but just kind of want an avenue to kind of post some stuff about wrestling. And it was actually born in the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast Facebook group. And I was
First of
like,
all, let's just tell people your first post in the major Wrestling Fan
yes,
podcast group. Who
yes,
was
it's
the first
crazy.
person to reply to it?
It was you. It was
How crazy is that you just discovered that the other day?
yeah, I know. I was digging through like old posts, and I was like, look at that. Yeah, so I know that's crazy. Uh, but yeah, so I put a poll out there, and I don't even remember the other names, but and I think somebody may even suggested it. And I'm sorry, I don't remember who did, but whoever it was, I was like, that's it. Like, like
Yeah.
that was the one, you know. Yeah, it's been definitely got confused with some wedding podcasts and wedding stuff. But
That's hysterical. I didn't even think of that.
yeah, in
So,
fact, when I first posted uh, and I was actually looking at the little graphic. I did like this handmade graphic. It's horrible, and I posted it like, oh, coming soon, you know, coming down the aisle, blah 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 blah. Well, I remember actually I was looking at the post today, and some people felt like, oh, because I was just dating my now wife at the time, and they were like, oh, are you about to propose? Like, that's not how I'm gonna do it, you know. And I was like, yeah, no, it's a wrestling podcast, you know. And some people thought it was like an announcement, or engagement announcement. I was like, no, I'm trying to start this wedding podcast, and I actually have to think. So I was in the meantime, I was doing some master classes and stuff like that, and there's a guy by the name of Ken Barrios. He became a friend of mine, and you know, he's helping me through some stuff, and kind of like as a mentorship type deal. And he was like, well, why don't you do like a podcast, you know, as well? And I was like, I was like, I don't know anything about it. You know, I've listened to podcasts for like years. I was like, I don't even know where to get started. And he kind of showed me a few things like, look, just try out Anchor. And, you know, so I did the Anchor thing for a little while. Um, and for, you know, my first couple of episodes are horrible.
yeah.
um,
I
and
remember that from me when I started. So
yeah, like I was
the
recording.
nerves.
Well, not only that, but the audio was horrible. I was
Yeah.
recording audio from my phone,
Uh,
and I was like sitting in my closet, so that way the sound isn't like, you know, it doesn't echo. So I had no
yeah.
mic, no headphones, didn't know anything about editing audio, you know, and I've just kind of learned that. Uh, in fact, today I had a audio question from our friend Sneed. Sneed's helping me out with some stuff. And it's just like, but it's just some. It's been a fun journey for sure to kind of watch it grow. And like I said, I've had the opportunity to interview some interesting folks. You,
Of course.
of course, the OG Fit Kid,
The state
uh, the staple,
and the
and,
paperclip.
and the paperclip. Have the privilege of interviewing the British Bulldog's daughter, Georgia Smith. She is awesome. I got a chance to interview the guys that filmed the curtain call, the actual curtain call.
That's
Like just
crazy.
unbelievable, like opportunities I've had. And I've kind of, you know, the way I focused it at first, it was going to be like friends and family, which is still kind of like that as well too. Friends and family come on, and we'll just watch wrestling and talk about their fandom and whatnot. Um, and then of course I have podcasters and you know, other wrestlers and whatnot. But it's fun to like have them pick the match and then them control the show, and
Yeah.
that's what coming down the aisle is about. So
That's what I love about your podcast is it's different. You know,
mm,
it's very enjoyable and it's taken off now. Newest member of the
mm,
Pod Foundation.
yeah,
Congratulations on that.
thank you,
You
and I
know,
have to thank
you're
you. I have to like I'm gonna thank you because we, you know, our friendship kind of grew into, you know, friendship with the tavern, and then really grew, which I was already friends with the Phelps, but really grew with the Phelps even more. And they've kind of have all accepted me now. Now I'm getting to know the extra cooler guys even more now.
they're
So
really cool guys.
yeah,
Everybody
they
at the
are.
Pod Foundation is amazing. Like, I'm not just saying it because we're part of the Pod Foundation, but it's just a great group of people doing some awesome wrestling podcasts.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud to be part of it with them, all of
Same
them.
here.
And I'm so thankful to Chad and Sneed for bringing me on to the tavern. I
Yep.
just started off by calling in. That's how I started there. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you want to do a debate show? And I'm like, sure. And 61 episodes later, the debate show is friggin' awesome. It's so much fun.
Right.
And all of us, we pop on here a couple times a week. We just have fun hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
We get done recording, and a lot of the times we all just sit here talking for another hour through this.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only person I've met in person out of the whole thing is Mike.
Right.
So far, I'm hoping we could change some of that this year and meet some
Yeah.
more of the people. I think that'll be a fun thing. I got to meet Chad and Sneed. They're only a car ride away, about 7 hours. So,
Oh, that's not too bad.
I'm going to have to do that trip this year and go see them. Hopefully, me and you. You said you're talking about coming to the East Coast.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Mike Belcaster to come back to the East Coast to visit, and I got plenty of room for people to stay. So
yeah, there you go.
But man, no, it's great. It's great, and your show has taken off, and it's deservingly so because you put a lot of hard work into it. And
yeah. Podcasting is not very easy.
No.
It takes a lot of work. Especially I decided to have a weekly guest, and as it can be kind of difficult each week finding those guests a lot of times.
Not only that, and scheduling it, and
Yeah.
fitting time. Like, it was different when we were all home with COVID and nothing's going on,
Right.
and all of a sudden, like, our life's starting to go back to normal, and it's like, I don't want to
Right.
give this up. I absolutely love it. This is part of my life now too.
I know.
So.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, it's become my hobby.
Yeah.
It's not, like I said, it's not the easiest thing, but it's so therapeutic.
Oh yeah, good point.
I could turn off the real world for a little while, come in here, and just talk wrestling with my friends.
Yeah. Like me, I could walk into, if I'm having a bad day, I'll walk into my figure room. I'll just stop, and it just makes me feel better, like looking around. But I've really got to redesign my figure room. It needs some updating. I need some AEW shelves in there.
I'm in the process of doing that. I'm going to need some more AEW room. Right now, I just have a ring full of them, and I mean it's crowded. But
yeah,
I've got this. I got a couple AEW figures. I'm just kind of waiting to open because I have nothing to do with them.
Yeah. Well, dude, the other thing you do, which is amazing now, free the fig.
Yeah. I just wanted to do like a little YouTube channel. It's just a little 10-minute thing. Nothing big, just a little unboxing. And I wanted to come up with it. There's a lot of different unboxing. I wanted something clever. They want to rip anybody off. Like, there's been some folks so we know rip people off. So I was like, what could it be? What could it be? And I came up with free the fig. I thought it kind of rolled off the tongue pretty well.
It does.
I eventually I want to, kind of hopefully to do some more vlogs and whatnot. I think that's entertaining. Do some toy hunts and stuff like that. There's actually a store, a vintage store here near me. They are moving to a new location, a bigger location, and I'm very excited about. So I may try to pop in there and maybe do a little toy hunt with their permission there with them. That's another thing. That's another aspect that I've kind of had to teach myself is YouTube, editing videos, and it's definitely a work in progress.
I can edit videos. You need help, reach out to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I might. It's just like trying to get the creative juices flowing, of how to do like titles and this and that. Right now, I'm just doing it off of iMovie, which I know is very basic.
Still, it's fine.
Yeah.
I've used iMovie too. I use Final Cut now, but
yeah, I know Final Cut is like, it all be all kind of thing, but
yeah.
I just don't see myself paying for it right now.
Yeah, I get that. I definitely get that. The only good thing is once you pay for it once, you have it for life.
Right.
Oh.
But yeah, I do a little Free the Fig, YouTube channel. You can check that out. You can check out all my stuff at comingdowntheaislepod.com. And where you can check out the YouTube channel and all that good stuff. So,
And if you're not following J-Bone yet and you're not listening to his podcast, I demand you go do it now.
demand,
Acknowledge him.
acknowledge me.
There you go.
I'm at least at the side of the tavern table.
So let's talk a little bit now about the side of the tavern. Let's talk a little bit now about the current state of wrestling. What are you liking now?
Loving AEW, absolutely.
Okay.
Every week, I get excited, uh, like I haven't in a long time about wrestling.
Same here.
And I just it's frustrating to watch WWE a lot of times because it's like they tease us, like it's like they know like what is good, but they don't want to pull the trigger on it. And they
Sometimes I
just
don't know
tease
if they know
us.
what is good.
Well,
But listen, I'm actually at a point right now where I'm a little more excited for what's going on in WWE than
yeah,
I've been in a while because we're seeing some fresh things. Like for Royal Rumble, all of a sudden we're getting Brock versus Lashley. We're getting
mhm,
Brock teasing Roman for title for title unification. Hopefully,
right.
we're seeing Seth Rollins appear on both shows. Is the brand split going away? That would only
Mhm.
help. So many there's a lot of things. And then I was thinking, something on Raw tonight made me think: is Seth Rollins going to beat Roman Reigns? And Roman Reigns enters the Rumble to fight Brock that way. I hope not. That's not what I want to see.
Why is
But
that?
something. Why?
Just
Why don't I want to see that?
yeah.
I want the title for title unification story.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why.
I got you.
That's why. That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
So, but we can see a Mickey James coming over from Impact, and she's going to be in the Royal Rumble. So WWE is reaching out to other people,
Yeah,
other companies.
I'm skeptical on that whole deal.
I'm very skeptical too, but I'm still excited. And
Yeah,
they've broken my heart so many times before. So, but it's just a potential. It's there. They've done something. Like I said on a debate show this week, is it they're just thinking this is our way to make everything right with Mickey, or is this actually looking to do work with Impact?
yeah.
No. Listen, if
The
I'm WWE, I work with Impact, and I wouldn't be surprised if they come in and say, "Impact, we want to work with you, but we want to be the exclusive promotion you're working with. We don't want
yeah,
you to work with anyone else."
yeah,
So,
yeah. What did George Bush used to say? George W. Bush, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you're not gonna fool me again."
yeah, they fooled me so many times. They fooled me
uh,
so many times.
you know,
So,
I don't know. I'm very skeptical of the deal. And then there's talk too that there's going to be a men's Forbidden Door entrant.
that would be awesome. See, that would excite me even more.
I don't want to see like a Jericho. I don't want to see like CM Punk, which I know is never going to happen.
I don't think it's
Uh,
going to be somebody
I,
from AEW. I think it would be from Impact.
I don't want to see Cardona even. I'm a fan of Cardona. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see Brian Myers.
I agree with you because I don't want to see another former person. I want to see a star that hasn't been in WWE, like a Moose.
I would absolutely love seeing Moose come down with the Impact World Title, and he's like,
Yeah.
"I'm calling my shot."
Listen, they
If
used to do it years ago. If you remember years ago, Carlos
mm-hmm.
Colon showed up in a Royal
Yeah,
Rumble. They used to have some people from other companies do it.
yeah,
So now's the time to start doing it again and make it mean something.
yeah.
Let Mickey James win it and put a high profile match on between two companies at WrestleMania.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Why not?
why not? Exactly. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to draw eyes to your product and
Yeah.
possibly Impact.
Yeah.
Like, Impact's not going to overtake WWE at any time. Like,
No.
sorry, they don't even have a TV deal. It's not going to happen. I love watching Impact. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to knock the product. I think
Yeah.
I think it's good, but
No, I think you're
they
being
don't.
very fair.
They just don't have the resources that WWE or AEW has,
Yep.
for that matter. So I mean, not only would they have to try to beat WWE, but they got to also try to beat AEW as well too.
That's not happening.
So yeah, that's not happening. So I think it's all it's been is just to get more eyes on Impact. maybe it'll help them get that TV deal. Maybe it'll help them get more resources. To get more eyes, and they can start getting some of these talent. It's well, one thing, with all these releases this year, it's caused a trickle down effect amongst all of wrestling. You
Yeah.
know, so the WWE's kind of sprinkled all his talent everywhere, and they're just kind of, I was like, all right, let's see where you land. Now, the dust is starting to settle, so it's getting harder and harder for folks to find that spot
Yeah.
because spots are getting filled up. And it almost makes me think, like, is this like WWE's way of trying to kill like wrestling schools and um, some of these independent wrestling schools and maybe some of independent wrestling as a whole?
Listen, they did that with the territories, but I kind of compare the indie wrestling today to what territories used to be.
Right.
Kind of, not exactly
Mm.
the same, but still, there's a lot of local, indies wherever you live. There's always local indies, so it's kind of similar to what it was, but not exactly where, like, where the big names were moving around back in the day.
Right. Right.
Um, so it is different, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if WWE is trying to do that, and I wouldn't be surprised if WWE wants to work with Impact to try and make them bigger to cause an impact on AEW. It's not going to happen, but I could see that
No.
being their thought process.
Maybe
Um,
they use them like they did like an ECW. I mean, they basically
yeah,
did that with Evolve, if you remember
yeah,
that.
yep,
You know,
yeah. Good point.
you could
Good
send some
point.
of
And they
these.
actually show indie wrestling still on the network.
Yeah, they do. They
So
do, and they could send some of these like green NXT talent over to Impact. Do talent swaps
yeah,
like they did with ECW back in the day.
yeah.
Um,
'Cause Jerry Lawler had the storyline back in the day. He was over there. Remember?
yep, you had Jerry Lawler,
So
and you had and then you'd have like Al Snow flipping back and forth.
yeah. You even had Vince
Taz.
McMahon. If you remember back in the early '80s, well, you probably don't remember. You probably weren't born yet. But Vince McMahon did a crossover
With Georgia Championship
with
Wrestling.
Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Yeah,
So I
that's
mean, Vince
that's
Vince is no stranger to crossovers.
yeah, that's how WrestleMania was funded.
Yeah, I think that Vince is starting to see finally, and we've begged of this for so long, for 2+ years since AEW has been around, that he has to do something.
Is that Vince or Nick Khan?
I think it's more Vince because Nick Khan has probably been telling him about it for years, but at the end of the day, Vince has got to want to do it.
Right.
Doesn't matter who's telling him. If at the end of the day, if Nick Khan comes to him and he says, "I want to do this," and Vince says no, it's not getting done. If Nick Khan comes to Vince with the list of 10 wrestlers he wants to release for budget cuts, and Vince looks at that list and says, "Okay, we're only getting rid of those 8. We're keeping those 2. Those 2 are staying."
Right.
So at the end of the day, it ends with Vince.
Mm.
So
I don't know. It's just a weird time with that with WWE. I think so. I think 2022, as much as fun as 2021 was, I think it's only getting better with 2022.
I think you're right. Like I said, again, I'm a little more excited for WWE than I've been in a while. I can't wait to see Brock versus Lashley. The promo tonight was friggin' hysterical. I don't know if you saw it yet, but
Yeah, yeah, I
I thought
did.
it was great. I
It
thought
was really
Brock was
good.
great in it. I love Brock. I love this version of Brock.
Yeah,
This is the best guy in WWE right now. This version of Brock.
absolutely. Like
So
it shows that he can evolve.
yes, and
And
you know what? It makes me wonder: was the Brock Lesnar who was only showing up every so often? Was that all kayfabe? Was that just him portraying the character?
I don't
Because it
know.
looks like he's having fun now. Like it seems so different.
Oh, you talking
You know?
about like how he's just like mean rock and I don't touch me
Yeah,
fans and
yeah.
I'm
Now he's posing for selfies at ringside with people.
yeah, yeah.
So
I'll only treat this as a job. I clock in, clock out.
right, was that kayfabe? Was it kayfabe? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Who
a good
knows?
point.
It sure makes me think it though. It sure put that thought in my head, and it never was before.
He sure enjoyed himself ringside now.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know.
before we go, I have one more topic I want to talk to you about.
All right.
Why don't you like 60-minute draws or
I
draws
knew
in
this was
general?
coming. I knew this was
I just want to
coming.
know, why don't you like draws? Let's talk.
Uh, well, my biggest thing is, I kind of mentioned, I like sports, and
Okay, I love sports.
I know obviously wrestling is, I guess if you want to call it sports entertainment. I hate that term, but it is. It's sports entertainment, right? It's pro wrestling to me, by the way.
Yeah, I agree. It's pro wrestling to
Uh,
me, but it is sports entertainment.
right. So it's entertainment at the end of the day, right?
Yep.
However, there's also that term sports in it,
Yep.
and it is a competition in a way in which you're trying to put out the best product you can. Each individual wrestler is trying to beat out each other.
Okay.
Okay, so in each match, like as the old way that what the clicks say, follow that. So if you're doing that, to me, if I'm watching it sports wise, I hate it because I don't want to watch a football game and it ends up in a tie. I don't want to watch a UFC event and it ends up in a tie. Uh, I don't want to watch baseball. Baseball doesn't do that, but there's been a few times in All Star games and whatnot. But
Yeah.
uh, I hate like the NFL rules with overtime. I hate them. Absolutely hate them. Uh, you know, I don't. I just. It's like watching a movie and actually on the this week on the debate, y'all gave it a perfect example. For me, it's like watching Dexter and seeing he became a lumberjack. And like, what? I've invested all this time watching Dexter, and this is how it ends, or Lost, right? For me, it's just like it cancels out everything that I just watched previously.
So
And
go
although
ahead.
although it gives you a good ride and whatnot, it just is like it's like for me, it's just not fulfilling at the end of the day. So
Okay, now I'm gonna talk. Now it's my turn. So no, let me ask you a question though. But you're okay with the double count out or double disqualification or
I'm not okay with it, no. But
okay?
I
Because all it is a tool. First of all, a wrestling match should have a time limit, shouldn't it?
no, why? You know, it's it's scripted. Like it's not like
It is scripted, but it's just a tool used to tell a story. A time limit draw, a tool that we hadn't seen in a very long time. So for me, seeing it was very fresh, and it made me anticipate a rematch between Danielson and Omega or Danielson and Hangman more than anything else. Like it made me like, oh my god, that was phenomenal! I can't wait to see it again.
okay. Well, actually, so it did the exact opposite for me, especially with the Hangman and Danielson, because I was like, "What? I'm gonna watch another 60 minutes of, and they're just gonna
I would
kiss
have
each
been there
other."
all day for another 60-minute
You
match.
know, look what they the way they did it. I think was completely stupid too. By the way, let's talk about that too.
Okay,
So,
can't wait to hear this.
so you had Omega and Danielson. They'd had their draw. Nothing happened. We never got a rematch. Nothing. Okay.
Because,
Now I
but
know
wait, wait, wait,
Omega's
wait, wait,
had
wait,
a
wait,
battle
wait,
with
wait, wait,
some Alpha
whoa,
twos.
whoa, 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 wait, wait, wait. Before you say anything, they announced before that match it was a one-time thing, non-title match because Danielson wanted to see if he could beat Omega. He wanted to beat the best. He wanted to wrestle the best. He came in. He wasn't a contender for the title yet, so he didn't deserve a title match right away. So that's why there wasn't a rematch right away. It was part of the story. Like they were very
Yeah,
explicit
yeah,
about that,
and that was
and I'm there for that.
Brian Danielson's first match, and he was trying to see if he could beat Omega, and he found out he couldn't.
But he
And
also didn't lose to him.
he also didn't lose to him, but he could. He didn't beat him. That's
He didn't beat
Danielson's
him.
very first match. That's how you introduce him. Now,
But it was a phenomenal match. He put on an amazing show.
yeah, it was a good match up until the end, which canceled everything out.
It doesn't cancel it out.
Then you go to Page and Danielson. Okay, then you get 60 minutes. All right, after you just did it a couple months ago, and I was just to see how they were going to pay this off. And for 3 weeks later, for you to come back and basically just like, after a 30-minute battle, okay, Paige, you go over. Like, all that did, like, it just extended the inevitable, Paige won. And then you had that match in his first title defense, and it was a draw. That's not doing Hangman any favors.
But he didn't lose the title in his first title defense either. He put on a hell of a match.
And he didn't win it either.
Right, but he also didn't lose.
Yeah. And so his second one, it took a second match to basically beat Danielson in a great match too. And I think it was a better match.
My opinion with that match was it was too short. I think they should have teased it going longer more so people would start to
I would have been
think.
okay with that. I would have been okay with that.
I think it would have put it in our minds if it went a little longer, like, oh my God, are they going to actually go? And it didn't have to,
All
but
right.
like I would have loved that. But it was another hard hitting,
Right. Oh
awesome
yeah.
match. I
I think
went
that
back and watched it again. I liked it better the second time I watched it than
yeah,
the
they had a
first time.
stacked card, so
Yeah.
they couldn't really do it. And looking back, like I remember thinking, like, the first one, like, man, they don't really have a whole lot of matches announced tonight. I
Yeah.
guess they're gonna have a lot of promos. Well, that's because half the show was
It was an amazing match.
Danielson and Page. I
Just
don't
look
know.
at it as a storytelling tool. Like when you when you could go out there and do that match for an hour all day long, I want to see another one. I want to see a rematch. And it just builds it up for me. I want to see the rematch to see who's finally going to beat who. So
I put it right there with a double count out, double disqualification, all that good stuff.
It's better than that because neither guy lost. Neither guy got counted out. Like they just put on a clinic. They put on a frigging clinic. And that's what Bryan Danielson is right now. He's just out of this world.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He can fit in any era of professional wrestling.
100%.
That's what makes him so good. So
100%. All right, J-Bone. Tell the people where they can find you.
Well, most importantly, you can head over to comingdowntheaislepod.com. And I'll have my links to get me to Instagram, Twitter, podcast, any other links I got going on. Let's see. Instagram, though, is also coming down the aisle. Twitter, down_aisle. You can find me on the Turnbuckle Tavern Raw Down each and every Tuesday. Tuesday night on YouTube at 10 Eastern, 9 Central. Or if you miss it on YouTube, you can check us out on Wednesday morning on the Turnbuckle Tavern feed, Raw Down. It's now a podcast. That's the brainchild of Young Anthony. Can we talk about Young Anthony for a second?
Do we have to?
Yes.
I'm kidding. I like the kid.
That kid is just something else, man.
Listen, I'll tell you the truth because he's not even here now. After he was a guest on a debate, I hit up Chad. I'm like, dude, we got to get him to do something.
Yeah.
He's good. And Chad's like, hell yeah, he is. Like,
Yeah.
we mutually agreed. And then I reached out for him to do the SmackDown recap show. And, kid's talented. He's a talented young kid. I hope he's not listening to this. But he is. He's really good. So.
I mean, he's a good kid. I mean, I say kid, but he is. I guess he's still young, and I mean that's why he's Young Anthony, right?
Yeah.
He can't even buy a beer yet.
I know.
Poor feller. All he wants to do is watch some wrestling and buy a beer. He can't even. He
and
can't
go to
even,
Staten Island to visit his girlfriend.
Oh man. But yeah, I just want to shout out Young Anthony. He's been a good friend, good partner in crime. I'm glad to have him aboard too.
Yeah, no, he's
and Marco
a good
too.
addition.
Marco. Marco. I want to shout out Marco too. Marco's been a great addition as well too. To the Raw Down as well. That's a recent addition. So I want to shout out Marco.
Keeping it in the Pod Foundation family, bringing him over onto that show.
Yeah,
Marco's great. I love Marco. He was on Sessions. Love the Chick Foley show. I started listening to them before I was even doing the Tavern. So
right.
I'm still waiting for my invite to go on that show, but
it's in
the mail.
We need
It's
some
in the know.
Tom. We need some Tom love over there.
Yes.
We need some Tom and some Mike Belcaster over
Yes.
on the Chick Foley show.
Yeah, you
So
tell them. Guys, go to theturnbuckletavern.com. You can get all of our links. Make sure you're following us everywhere. Listen to all of our podcasts. Watch all of our YouTube shows. Tuesday night, we got the Raw Down on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Now it's live on Twitter. Wednesday nights, we have the All Elite Wrap-Up Show. 10 o'clock after Dynamite goes off, we recap the week of AEW. Thursday nights, we got Fig Night, 8 o'clock. Then we got podcasts coming out the gazoo every single day of the week except for Sunday. So go to theturnbuckletavern.com. Follow us, rate us, review us, subscribe to us. We'll send you stickers if you give us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Spotify's now allowing reviews. So if you do that, send us a screen cap. You get some Turnbuckle Tavern stickers. You get Fig Night stickers. You can buy some shirts. You go to our Pro Wrestling Tees store. If you're on YouTube, you're seeing a picture of the OG Fig Kid shirt right now, the Turnbuckle Session shirt, the debate shirt. Make sure you check it out, guys. We appreciate your support so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. J-Bone, thank you for coming on the sessions. It was another fun episode. Anytime I get to talk to J-Bone, it's fun, though. Yeah. Even if I still can't convince him that the draw wasn't as bad as he thinks it was. Thank you guys for joining us. Until next week, peace, love, and pro wrestling.